let's say that, let's go a step further. If I take your money and say, here, I'm going to take your money, I'm going to invest it, then I'm going to repay you with a return. Now we've gone a step further, because if I don't give you a return at the very minimal, at least if I return your money, well, I failed to give you a return. But if I don't even return your original principal, that's fraud. It's probably 63, feels like 48 degrees.
Windy.
Yeah, windy, wind chill. And it's getting stormier. This has just been going on for almost 5 months, since December. This area is uncharacteristically, in the last 5 months, normally it's sunny all the time, because it's desert and it's sunny here. But it's been like this, and it's like, even here, you just don't ever see. Look how tall these are, almost to my chest. That's how big these flower bushes are. They're normally not any flower bushes here. Look how beautiful that is. We keep hearing how this is the biggest retirement wave of our history, the baby boom retirement, right? And in many ways it creates a lot of opportunities, but I've also been seeing that an awful lot, huge percentage of the US population will not have much of a retirement, will be
depending on Social Security.
I forget what the number was it 50% or something? Don't quote me on these numbers. I'm just, pulling stuff out of my memory. There's a lot of talk about when should somebody take their Social Security. And then there's the other side, was the people that are supposed to pay you. And the people that are supposed to pay you, they themselves are telling you that they're insolvent. And they themselves are trying to convince you to wait. Not because it's the best thing for you, but because they're insolvent and they don't have the money. And so all of these people, that's a lot of people, and so we keep seeing these headlines that they're going to run out of money. The bottom line is, most people have paid into it. They want it. They paid into it. It's theirs. It's their money. It's funny, because some people don't understand. That's your money that you paid into it, and you believed in the promise. There was a promise there made, and then the promise is being reneged on when you're told that, well, we're going to have to diminish it, or maybe it'll just get closed. But they know they won't close it altogether, because that's politically catastrophic. And the latest thing, that's nothing new, right? But here's the new part that I saw recently. It said, and this was both Democrat and Republican, so don't, get sidetracked with the kind of arguments that are simply they're designed to distract us from what the hidden agenda is. And so they were saying that, we should just put all the cards on the table and just say, look, we can't meet our obligations. We can't come through with our promises. Now, what do you think when you hear something like that? Here's the thing. If I say to somebody, I'll meet you at noon over there, if somebody says to me, yeah, I'll meet you at Walmart at noon, right, and they don't show up, well, sure, anything could happen, but they didn't do what they said they would do, and that's on them. That's on their character. You say, well, that person doesn't keep their word, doesn't do what they say. That's one thing, right? But let's say that, let's go a step further. If I take your money and say, here, I'm going to take your money, I'm going to invest it, then I'm going to repay you with a return. Now we've gone a step further, because if I don't give you a return at the very minimal, at least if I return your money, well, I failed to give you a return. But if I don't even return your original principal, that's fraud. If you and I do something like that, that's fraud, and you know that people go to jail for that. So this is a huge concern, because it's a huge precedent it sets a precedent that not just that somebody can say something and not come through for you, but that they can take your money, and then when they take your money forcibly, that adds another dimension. Now, you know, there's a differentiation in the law between fraud and robbery. Well, you know, fraud is achieved through deceit. Maybe it was intentional deceit, maybe it was unintentional deceit. Maybe the first group of guys meant what they said, but then when the next group of guys came in, they just squandered and mismanaged, and then, you know, regardless, the bottom line, it became fraud. But when you forcibly take money from people, you say you have to do this or else, that becomes a robbery, and it becomes a more vicious crime than fraud. As vicious as fraud is, it becomes more serious, and the punishment, of course, in law also changes from fraud to robbery or assault or what have you. So when something is done forcibly to cause you to part with your money and defraud you in that way. So something to think about, guys. Something to think about. So what say you? Honest government doesn't force you to part with your money, give you promises, and then later say, oh, sorry, we can't come through. Is that what honest government does? We should consider all of these things that cause us to lose sight and lose our bearing and become less free as a culture through the years. Because there's a lot of great things that work real well for us as long as those that are in charge of the things are upright, honest people that can be trusted. But what happens when that is no longer the case? And so we expose ourselves to this risk, and relying on retirement and Social Security or any retirement scheme, being even a fat retirement, puts us in peril. Even a fat retirement, even a fat buyer, you know, having all these millions in the stock market, this is something that has worked for a long time. But that going forward, on another note, a lot of good news coming out for Bitcoin lately. Isn't that interesting how all the bad news comes out and fear and greed, you know, people just dump it. Oh, it's bad, it's bad. And the tide has turned. And it's like the very same people that are telling you, you know, they're telling us, well, you know, we can't come through with our promises even though we forced you to do it. Yeah, Bitcoin's bad, Bitcoin's bad. Same people, same group of people telling you that. So what do you make of that? Tell me in the comments, what do you make of that? What do you think of that? Whoppers of the day. It's all coming out in the open. Now don't forget to check out some of the links below the video for more videos and more information just like this. All right, so thanks for coming to the channel and have a wonderful day.